everyone, and welcome to Ghouls Night In, the spooky chat show with your best ghoul friends. I'm Penny Snark,
And I'm Midge Monster.
and today I am so excited to bring something that I would say was definitely one of my entry points into the strange and unusual.
Your gateway drug, definitely.
For sure. It is the original show Unsolved Mysteries.
Woohoo!
Were you a watcher of Unsolved Mysteries, Midge?
No, and actually, this is a cute little friendship moment for us because you showed me my first episode of Unsolved
I
Mysteries.
did. I forgot that. I did show
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, when I was up in Milwaukee visiting you, we watched probably 3 episodes, and I was pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoyed it. I didn't think that would be my bag, but I liked the pure ridiculousness of it.
Yes. I think like that was definitely one of the reasons that I don't remember when I first started watching Unsolved Mysteries. I definitely watched it a lot in high school, just like reruns of it, and was just very invested. For those who don't know, Unsolved Mysteries is a documentary style series that would showcase 4 different unsolved mysteries over the course of its hour-long episodes, ranging from crime to the paranormal. And it was hosted by the fabulous Robert Stack in its most famous incarnation. We will talk a little bit about the kind of the winding track that Unsolved Mysteries took. But yeah, I remember watching this, and it was one of those things where, like, because I think it was like that documentary vibe, like it was never like scary.
Right, yeah. And that's, I think, part of why I never watched it, because I always was a scaredy cat and I thought it was going to be like really spooky.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, when we watched it together, I was like, well, this is just a silly, goofy time.
Yes. I thought I would start out by giving you my definition of what the categories of unsolved mystery segments are.
Yes, give
So
it to us.
number one is there's been a murder.
In Savannah?
Mm. And number two, someone disappeared.
Whoa.
Number three, aliens.
My favorite.
Yep. Number four, we were separated and it's the olden times. Number five is, did God do this? And finally, number six, random weird shit.
Did God do this is my favorite.
That
was the episode we watched, had a did God do this part. Yeah.
I watched these in middle school, and they currently have the original series. I think there's some on Amazon Prime and there's some on Hulu. So I started rewatching a bunch during quarantine, just like to have something on in the background, like while I would be like working. And there were a lot more did God do this than I would have anticipated.
People just want to know what's he up to.
Yes, the Wikipedia explanation of Unsolved Mysteries said reenactments of unsolved crimes, missing persons cases, conspiracy theories, and unexplained paranormal phenomenon, including alien abductions, ghosts, UFOs, and secret history theories.
Oh.
Which is missing, I think, the other like major segment, which is we were separated and it's the olden times, because there are so many stories on this show that are people trying to find someone that, like, today I'm like give it a goog, my friend. But
ping their iPhone.
But yeah, it would be like family members who are like, I haven't seen my sister in 30 years, or people who like there was one about like a kid who in a war-torn country, and like an American soldier showed his family kindness and he wants to get back in touch with that soldier, and like stuff like that. There's also like a lot of military episodes.
It can't be
Um,
done. It's 1963. I'm so sorry.
right? They're just like, oh well. My sister once famously said, as we were watching Unsolved Mysteries, we should become estranged so we can be reunited on Unsolved Mysteries.
New Ghouls Night In merch. We should become estranged.
Yes. And I love, so as I was doing my research, the show creator in an interview said almost every show has an unexplained death in it, and almost every show has a lost love story. Then we'll mix and match in there a legend or a gold mine, or we'll put in one of our UFO stories. And like that is, there's always something for everyone in each
Yeah.
episode. And like because they are the shorter segments, you'll like get like, and I will say one of the things that I do love about kind of like the ridiculousness of Unsolved Mysteries is that it's incredibly tonally inconsistent
Oh, yeah.
over the course of the episode, because there will be like someone was murdered and we don't know who did it. Anyway, here's a lady who draws pictures of dead people that she gets in psychic visions. And I'm like,
Literally.
what?
Yeah, the episode that you and I watched, it was like that guy who fell down the stairs,
Oh,
probably,
yeah.
and they were
Mhm.
like, the whole the whole premise was just like, well, he might have been murdered. We're not sure. Okay, so this gal followed a balloon to a cemetery.
Yes. Oh my God. The hot air balloon that took her to the cemetery.
And they're literally like showing this guy's like grieving family, and then 10 seconds later they're chasing a hot air balloon. It was just what a romp.
It is. And I think I told you about this one when you were there, but one of my very favorite random weird shit segments is a family that found a rock on vacation. And
Yes!
they touched this big rock, and then their life got better. And they think that maybe this was a magic rock. What? So let's go back. Let's go back to 1986.
Can we?
Which was the airing of the kind of precursor to Unsolved Mysteries. So Unsolved Mysteries was actually started as a series of 3 specials that were called Missing. Have you seen this person? Which is so 80s. Like, can you imagine like a show today? And it also, it has an ellipsis. So it's missing ... Have you seen this person? Question mark.
A very concise title to get the point across. Yeah.
Well, you got to know what you're getting into. But so these were 3 specials that aired in 1986 on NBC and featured 3 different missing persons cases, and people loved it. People ate that shit up. So they were like, let's do more. And so the pilot of Unsolved Mysteries was a special, aired in 1987. They then, kind of ordered more, and they aired 6 more specials over like 1987 to 1988. And it's in 1988 that it debuted as a weekly program. And that is also Robert Stack hosted the kind of like last set of specials, and then obviously came in to host the main show. And I think like he's such the perfect host of this show. He's like
really
very
is.
serious, and he's very serious, but I feel like he always has kind of like an unspoken eyebrow quirk where he's like, perhaps.
Like he's in on the joke.
Yes.
Yeah, he's not taking it too seriously.
Yes, I did. One of the other interviews I read, the showrunner was saying that he was like, Robert was like incredibly proud of all of like the work we did to like solve crimes. He was not super bought in on like the aliens, the paranormal stuff, which I appreciate. That's one of the other like quotes that I still like think of is there was a random alien abduction themed episode, and Robert Stack said something in like the narration where he was like, but in a circumstance such as this, one has to consider the possibility of extraterrestrial involvement. And I was like, do I have to, Robert? I don't think I do.
But see, this is where we then eventually evolve into like BuzzFeed Unsolved, because then what they needed was they needed a Midge to counterbalance Robert.
Yes.
They need
and be like, no, it was certainly the aliens.
Like, yeah, you're the Robert in this situation, and then I come in and I'm like, but you have to consider the possibility that the rock was magic.
Yeah, and so this show was very, very popular for like a solid 5 years. It says that the ratings kind of started going down after 1993, but like in I was reading a thing like it ranked as like the 11th top show across all networks
Wow.
in like its height. So people were very into this. They eventually added segments from their phone room because that was, I'm like, obvious. I'm assuming most people know about like kind of the concept of Unsolved Mysteries, but if you didn't know, they had a tip line, and they still, I think, have a tip line that you can submit stuff to,
Mm-hmm.
where you could call and say, I saw this person, or have seen this. I touched that rock and get, and they would like, track down these leads. So a lot of these episodes, so one of the best parts of rewatching episodes now is that when something new would happen, they would film an update and be like, we found this guy's long lost love and here they are. And it's like, what? And they put up a little thing being like, this fugitive was captured in May of 1991 and stuff like that, which you didn't always get. Like when I was
Yeah.
watching the syndication ones, like it was kind of a crapshoot whether the episode had the update in it or not.
Well, and that's honestly, that's the hard part for me. And I know it's right there in the title. It says unsolved.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, you and I are watching it and we get to the end. I'd be like, but what happened? And you're
And
like, it's called Unsolved
well,
Mysteries. And I was like, well, that's infuriating.
it
No.
is. It is. It's very sad. But apparently they covered more than 1,000 cases and had tips leading to the solving of over 260 crimes, and over 100 separated families were reunited
That's
from
awesome.
Unsolved Mysteries, which is not a terrible success rate, I would say.
Yeah. No, I mean, and again, like, for the time, too. Like, yeah, that's a good track record.
And one of the things, so Unsolved Mysteries is also famous for its reenactments. And
Yes.
apparently in like the first segments, they were actually having like the actual people reenact what happened to them.
Relive their trauma on live
Right.
television. Sure. Makes sense.
Yeah, and the quote from director David Vassar was, "The acting of these first seasons, when we were just getting our feet wet, was not up to snuff. As we went through the seasons, we were able to pay top dollar and get good people, so it
Yeah.
just got better and better."
As opposed to the Emmy nominated award winning acting that happens in the later seasons.
Right. But I do have some famous people who appeared on Unsolved Mysteries reenactments.
Ooh.
Most famously, it was one of Matthew McConaughey's first roles.
Really?
Was a reenactment in Unsolved Mysteries. He played, I have it here, what's the guy's name? Larry. He played Larry Dickens, who was murdered in his front yard. Sucks to be him, sorry Larry.
Sorry, Larry.
But this was actually one that was solved. And it was Edward Bell basically like drove up in a truck, got out of the car naked from the waist down, which
Sure.
not sure what that's about.
Well, when you're
And
committing murder, you
it's,
like to
I
let the
guess.
bits breathe.
And yeah, came and was there. He was, so the guy, Larry Dickens, his wife saw this bottomless man get out of a pickup truck and called the cops because he was walking towards like a group of kids.
Sure.
And Larry ran out and took his keys out of his truck so he wouldn't be able to get away before the cops got there. And then he refused to give them back, and Bell shot him and killed him. So
And then I'm
sad
guessing
story.
he did get away
He
because it
did,
was
yes, and
unsolved from yeah.
he got away. So within the story of Unsolved Mysteries, a random man then got away, but he was later captured, which is
Well, good
good.
good job. Thanks, Matthew
Yes.
McConaughey.
Thanks, Matthew McConaughey. Cheryl Hines also appeared on
Oh.
Unsolved Mysteries. Not sure what. Daniel Day Kim, who was on Lost,
Oh yeah.
was on Unsolved Mysteries, and apparently Taran Killam was on Unsolved Mysteries.
What hasn't Taran Killam been in?
Right.
He just appears randomly. I love him.
Yes. So those are a few of the celebrity cameos who might pop up while you're watching some Unsolved Mysteries reenactments. And that was one of the other, I read like a Mental Floss article of like fun facts about Unsolved Mysteries. And apparently in one of the commentaries, the director was like, yeah, you can tell how good the reenactment went based on how much of the dialogue is still there. If it was bad, we just put narration
We
over the
just
top
dubbed
of
over it.
it. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Which
I
is fair.
honestly, I would love to be a reenactment actor. I think that would be so funny.
It
I
would
mean,
be pretty cool.
I know it's like sad stuff, so I shouldn't be like that'd be fun. But
Well, you could be in a reenactment of like
aliens,
or God.
did
Like,
God do that?
did God do that? And Midge is sitting there making a shocked face, like, "Ooh, I don't
Whoa!
know."
Oh my god!
I don't think this was in the episode. Was the staircase in the episode that we watched?
The guy that fell down it, or
No, like the God staircase.
oh no, I don't
No,
know what that is.
there's a segment where they're like, oh, like in the 1800s, these nuns at this church needed a staircase to get up to the choir loft, and I'm like, how did they build this choir loft
But they
without a
couldn't build stairs.
staircase? And they're like, oh, this traveling master craftsman appeared and agreed to build it, and he built it, and it was so beautiful. It was so well done that it seemed like no mortal man could have made it. And then he left, and there's no historical record of who it was. So maybe God, an angel, built this staircase. And I'm like,
Yeah, because no human has ever built stairs before, so I couldn't
right.
imagine.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, it was like so well constructed and it fit in such a small space. And I'm like, yeah, I mean,
You're
obviously,
describing a carpenter.
yeah, and I'm like, obviously, y'all didn't know how to build a staircase, so you hired someone. So it just sounds like someone who is really good at building staircases.
That's amazing. I
Yes,
they there's so many segments that are just so good.
yes, it's wild, and there are also like weird history ones which are fun. They did like a Halloween special that was all about Jack the Ripper.
Hell
And
yeah.
they did that now I don't remember the details of it, but it was like an old man who claimed that he was Billy the Kid and that he had like escaped
Oh.
and was not dead, and people were like, that's not true, but his town was like, we think it's true. So
They said why not?
they said sure, so they made a series segment on that. But yeah, it was just such an entertaining show. It did go through some different hosts. It went off the air in 2002 officially, but was, not necessarily doing really well by that time.
Sure.
Spike did a revival with Dennis Farina hosting in 2008, but that only lasted for like 2 years. I did not watch it. I was like, this is not my Unsolved Mysteries.
This is not what I ordered.
And then, of course, Netflix did a
Mm-hmm.
reboot in 2019, which, like, I enjoy the Netflix show, but it's not Unsolved Mysteries.
It has more of an ID vibe.
Yeah, I mean, they're just straight up documentary episodes
Yeah.
about unsolved mysteries, but I'm like, if it doesn't have multiple segments, if there's not a narrator, like this ain't
Right.
this ain't my Unsolved Mysteries.
The camp is lost.
Yeah, which like I'm like, yeah, this is a good series, but I wouldn't I
But
wouldn't
don't
call it
call
a
it unsolved. Yeah.
reboot. Yeah, like it's not a reboot of Unsolved Mysteries. It's just another show about things that are not solved.
Fun fact, a kid I went to college with was in the reboot the first season.
Ooh,
That's my only tie to Unsolved Mysteries.
that's pretty cool. Was
I
he
don't
a
re-
reenactor or did he like speak on something?
Yeah, he's a
'Cause yeah.
reenactor. I don't remember what episode it was. I know it's the first season. I'll have to look at a list of episodes. I would know if I saw it. But yeah, he was again living my dream. Got to be got
Right,
to be a
very
reenactor.
cool. Yep. And apparently Netflix is going to launch a second season of that series. Nope, third season, maybe.
Yeah, the second came
And
out.
oh yes, third series this summer. So stay tuned for that. But until then, you can watch the original Robert Stack Unsolved Mysteries and learn about things like aliens and cool rocks and people. Oh, there's a lot of amnesia also, which I love.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
many people who are like, oh, I disappeared and it's because I have amnesia. And everyone's like, not sure.
Well, and that's so many things too. Like I know one of the ones we watched, not to like make fun of it or make light of it, but like it was literally they were like, this girl just went off the deep end and went missing. And I was like, that woman had schizophrenia. like
Yeah.
like so many things were like undiagnosed mental problems.
Yeah, there is a lot of that too, where you're like, yep, like there is often a common denominator of people who just disappear.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
but yeah, I love that. I didn't include it in my main list, but there's also always like interesting fraud stories. There was like one about like a baseball card scam that
Ooh.
was very good, but yeah, I could easily spend the rest of the day telling you half remembered Unsolved Mysteries segments. So we'll cut it off there, but I encourage any of our listeners to tell me what you remember about some of your favorite Unsolved Mysteries segments,
Yes.
and I would love to see if I can recognize them.
That's me with the Spike Show, Thousand Ways to Die.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to do a Thousand Ways to Die episode because there's still some segments from that haunt me to this day.
They imprint on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, no deeper meaning in this episode. I just think Unsolved Mysteries is a cool show, and I wanted to talk about it.
I'm sure we have people here that are because it just falls into our niche so well.
Yeah,
There's got to be a fan base here.
Yes, and I mean, I think that it is probably the root for a lot of us who are big true crime people. That
Yeah, I was thinking
it's kind of your first taste of crime, and you're like, ooh, I gotta know.
I thought that when you like originally introduced me to, because I was never a true crime person, maybe until I mean, literally, I told you I started listening to some podcasts during quarantine.
Yeah.
But I could see where, yeah, if you grew up with that, that would be I mean, one of my best friends is one of those people who was an Unsolved Mysteries person and an investigation discovery, like fell asleep to ID every night, kind of gal. And yeah, it's again one of those human condition things I find fascinating. Of like, what about this are we so drawn to that we want to know, like, or not know, I guess in this case, not know the answers.
Wonder forever. And I always like Google desperately after watching an Unsolved Mysteries, being like, well, by now, like
certainly we know what
certainly
happened.
now we know something, and a lot of times we don't, but there is a very active Reddit community, so it's usually easy to see someone be like, hey, remember this case? Any news about that? And all of the, Reddit detectives are like, nah, no updates.
I will be doing a Google deep dive about The Rock after this.
Yes. Check out that sweet rock. If only I could find it and make my life better.
Yeah, no kidding.
Release The Rock's location.
Petition 2022. Tell us where The Rock is.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for another episode of Ghouls Night In. We love to share our spooky stories and adventures with you. And if you would like to help us continue to share them, you could tell someone that you like about this podcast.
Tell someone you don't like.
That's true. I guess what I meant to say was you could tell someone that you like this podcast, but either way works. You could also leave us a 5-star review on your podcatcher of choice. And when we have new reviews, we will read them right here on the show. So get to it. Leave us a new review. We would love to read it.
Yeah, put that pen to paper and unsolve that mystery. Do you like the show? Let us know.
Yes, that is the mystery. So if you would like to follow along with the podcast and what we're up to, you can find us on Instagram at Ghouls Night in Pod. And you can find me across all the platforms at Penny Snark.
And you can find me at Midge Munster.
And until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.